Welcome everyone to Wizards Outlook. We got Cardo Delete Jr. here. We got Raymond Lyons. I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. Now, the Washington Wizards complete the season sweep of the Hornets 113 to 100. Ray, we saw them do the thing that other teams typically do to them in the third quarter in a dominating fashion, which was great to see. And then, we saw them kind of hold on late, figure out how to win. Who knew? Like, vets are kind of important and matter and impact games. But Ray, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on this one for Washington?
Yeah, that was the biggest thing for me, man. They finally won the third quarter. That's been the Achilles heel for a majority of the season, to be perfectly honest. But they came out this game and was able to see control of the game in that and coming out of halftime, and they just kept their foot on the gas and put it away in the fourth. I think you mentioned vets. I think that's a big part of it, having people in there to be able to kind of stabilize the game and get things under control. They had adults in the room, as you like to say, often Wilson. And that definitely helped, man, because we've seen a lot of times where they'll have a couple of just janky possessions and things will be out of sorts, and they're never able to get things back under control. But they were able to this game. We know every possession is not going to be perfect, but just to limit the bad offense, and that paid dividends for them tonight. And they defended well down the stretch, and man, their bench production was a huge part of their victory tonight. And they really just seemed to have the Hornets number. They were able to come away with a win.
Cardell?
Yeah, for me, it was multiple things. Obviously, they won the third quarter with some great defense and efficient offense, led by Chris Middleton, who you would expect to deliver with this experience and big game experience, being a championship player. He had in the third quarter, he had 9 points and 2 rebounds on 4 or 5 shooting in that period. But also Bud Carrington, he made some great shots in that quarter, 2 or 3 from deep. He facilitated, did a little bit of everything. He had 2 assists in that quarter, 2 rebounds. Also can't forget about Alex Sarr, who hit a couple threes in that quarter. But the thing that really jumped out was the defense. In that quarter, they had a defensive rating of 64. I don't even know how you can have a defensive rating of 60. Like that just goes to show you how on point they were defensively. Like the Hornets couldn't get anything. They shot 30% from the field, 7 of 23, and they were 2 of 9 from deep. Didn't get to the free throw line, so the Wizards defended without fouling, and they turned them over. The Wizards turned them over 5 times. Meanwhile, the Wizards shot 47% from the field and 42% from deep, and made all of their free throws, and now rebounded them 12 to 11. That just set the tone for the rest of the game, and all the Wizards had to do was just not beat themselves, and they walked off a winner. And then 3-point shooting, first half, when Charlotte had the lead, they allowed the Hornets to shoot 40% from deep, 50% from the field. But really, the 3-point shooting, they were 10 of 25. LaMelo Ball was 3 of 7. Miles Bridges was 3 of 5. Josh Green was 3 of 4. Second half, none of that. Held the Hornets to 4 of 17 from deep. Josh Green 0 for 2. Miles Bridges 0 for 1. LaMelo Ball 2 for 6. Nick Smith 1 for 4. Combined 3. And also, they continued throughout the second half to defend without fouling. In the second half, the Hornets only got 1 free throw, and they made that. Just 1 free throw. Just flawless basketball in so many aspects, man. That's why they won this game convincingly. They turned the Hornets over in the second half 8 times. After 10 turnovers themselves in the first half, they only had 5 in the second half. It was just a clinic in the second half, and it was led by the vets. You know what I mean? But Bub, you got to throw Bub in there as well. Koulibaly, Keyshawn is rapidly getting better and better. The boy, like we've been saying, just take their lumps early, and then hopefully by the end of the year, we should be able to see them turning the curve as far as understanding what the league is all about and understand how to play. And that's what we're seeing. Now with the addition of Middleton and Smart, and obviously Brogdon, those guys are over there. Even Rashawn Holmes with his professionalism, he was on the team the entire time and didn't even play majority of the season. Then around All-Star break, hey, come on and play, and he ready to go. And he's been huge for them. We're just showing how professional. Because man, when you have a guy that's set like that, and then he come in and his impact is immediate, you ain't really got no room to complain and do nothing. But come on, man, like you guys shut up and just hoop. Your number call, hoop. If your number not called, you support your teammates and keep it moving. And to play this type of game without Jordan Poole, it speaks volumes. It shows that they're maturing quickly and they're understanding and they're learning how to win. Now you can say, "Oh, they're just playing the Hornets." I'm sure you always got the pessimistic people out there. They're playing the Hornets or whatever, but at the end of the day, the Hornets got a better record than them. So they beat a team that's currently better than them. Because at the end of the day, your win-loss records determine what you are, unless there's some crazy stuff going on as far as injuries or whatnot. So they sweep the Hornets, which is good. Second win out of the last 3 games, which is also good. But you starting to see winning traits, understanding how to control momentum, understanding the poise, understanding what's a good shot. You know what I mean? Like you kind of saw in the second half, they was turning down good shots and overpassing at times. You know what I mean? And it got them in trouble. So, but I'd rather see that than them doing what their counterparts was doing on the other side, which helped them lose, because we've seen too much of that this year and all that. So they're starting to understand how to play, man, how to play winning basketball, and it's huge, man, moving forward. And it was good to get this win, but I really want to see what they look like Monday against Miami, because I like the momentum they've been building. Obviously, Miami's they in playoff mode. They trying to build up, get as high up in the standings as they can. So Monday would be a real test to just see how much these young fellas have grown.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys with that third quarter defensively. What was it like just this other night? We're talking about how I think, what is it, 12 points they gave up in the fourth quarter of a game, in a game that they won. And then tonight we're talking about in the third quarter, taking it a quarter earlier, usually kind of the quarter of doom this year. Like that's something we've been talking about all year, haven't labeled it, but we've seen time after time. How many nights have we got on here talking about the other team took the game over in the third quarter? Washington made a rally, but the game was blown open in the third. Yeah, I thought that was great. Cardo, the point you made about doing this without Jordan Poole tonight, I thought, Bub, I don't care about the shooting from him, but that was a clean floor game for a rookie. JP's not here, sharing a large bulk of the duties, plus 11, no turnovers. That's a clean game for a rook. You talked about, both you guys mentioned Keyshawn. I thought Bilal, again, didn't shoot it great, but we're seeing him kind of find his way along offensively, again, little by little. And I know, again, if you just look at the box, you're like 6 for 18 is not great. Yeah, that's cool, but I've kind of like the shots Bilal's coming. Like he's taking his shots a little bit more. We're starting to see what he deems his shots, right? That's a great thing. There's some folks that get to year 5, 6, and we're kind of like, hey man, take your shots. You're not taking your shots. You're letting the defense dictate what's happening. Rashawn Holmes been amazing all year, man. Sat there patiently, like you said, tapped him on the shoulder. Hey, you're up. Sarr's been in and out of the lineup. I think last game, Holmes, one of the last 2 games, Holmes didn't miss a shot. He was just in foul trouble. He's been great rolling to the basket. We know the job he's done on the glass, but their bench was huge tonight. They killed Charlotte's bench in this one. So credit to them for that. But like you said, Cardell, you can't knock them for beating a team with a better record than them. There's a lot of teams in the league have better records than them. A win is a win. And I'm anxious. I'm like you. I'm very anxious about Monday because Miami also brings that physicality thing, which we've seen them at different times struggle with a little bit, along with what you mentioned. But we know we've seen them kind of at times, those overly physical teams kind of impact on them. But I'm also anxious to see what that looks like now with Middleton and Smart in the lineup too. Ray, as you mentioned with vets, it's a little different when you got guys on your end that could dole out the punishment too. You kind of, give everybody a little bit more confidence and whatnot in those types of games. That said, if you guys had nothing else, player of the game.
I went Middleton. He had a lot to do with that third quarter, and that was pretty much what kind of got the Wizards in control of the game.
Cardell.
Yeah, I might have to give it to the entire bench. They that 50 points. Yeah, from the Wizards bench, Charlotte scored 13, but the balance scoring. I expect Middleton to do what he do. Sarr should be, he should put up better numbers at this point. But with the balanced attack that they had, them out of Koulibaly, good all around performance. Bub was setting the table beautifully. But the bench, man, that balanced attack, it just, you could say it just overwhelmed Charlotte. Corey do what he do, knocking down shots. Rashawn, Justin Champagne, Marcus Smart gonna come in there with the energy. The benchmark was huge tonight. To have 8 players in double figures, and then also 33 assists to 40 made shots. It's just beautiful basketball, man. Like, that's what we saw tonight, and it just shows you how lethal they can be, and the versatility of their roster. As these youngest continue to grow, man, it's just beautiful to watch. But I gotta give it to their bench, man. The bench can play.
All right, X factor tonight for you guys.
I actually had the second unit as the X factor, especially they were coming off a game against Portland where they got severely outperformed, and it was nice to see them respond positively like this tonight.
Cardell.
I'm gonna give it to Keyshawn George, man. 8 points, 8 assists. The 8 assists. That team high 8 assists. That's big, man. That means he's learning quickly. He's starting to understand how to read the floor. That's pro basketball right there. You gotta understand how to make reads, and a lot of guys kind of figure, it's all about the one-on-one scoring and stuff like that. Nah, man, you gotta know how to read the game. And when you get 8 assists and stuff like that, and that's not even your role necessarily, you just doing it within the flow. He's starting to see the game at a good rate, and also his defense came over some timely stops, timely strips, timely deflections. People kind of forgetting about their wing depth, man, and what they're building. It's not just Koulibaly. People always like the young core, Alex Sarr, like Koulibaly and Bub. I'm like, yo, you can't forget about Keyshawn, dog. He a big part of that. You know what I'm saying? And their wing depth is crazy. When you add Champagne, people don't even bring up Sadiq Bey, sitting on there recovering from the ACL. Like, their wing depth is crazy, and let's call it what it is. You know who they trying to build up to match in the East, the Celtics, and with the Cavs, what they doing. If you don't have wing depth, it's gonna be tough to beat those teams. So they trying to build up quietly. We ain't making no noise. We trash over here, man. We in the lobby. Don't pay us no mind. And they hoping for that turnaround. You look up, boom, oh shit, like Detroit, like Orlando. They're a threat now out of the blue. So you can tell that's the focus and what they're building. At the rate they're going, they should be able to get there. But yeah, Keyshawn, man, 8 and 4, 2 steals, block shot. The only thing he did, if you want to nitpick, he didn't shoot the ball efficiently, but whatever. He stopped at 10 shots. He had 3 mates. he stopped. He didn't keep jacking. He focused on other aspects of the game to make an impact, and the Wizards were better off for it.
Yeah, that part about what they're building, and that segues into one of the questions we have in a little bit. Bigger wings that can play make. That a lot of people in the league are looking for those types of players. And that's, like you said, that's why he shouldn't be forgotten. When people talk about the riches over here in terms of the youth, what is that, 6'8", 6'9", and we're seeing him at tonight, secondary playmaker at times. That's a luxury. That is a hell of a luxury, folks. But again, we're gonna get to some of these questions real quick. We got 2 tonight. Fun one here is LaMelo Ball a winning player?
To me, no, not yet. I think people get talent confused with results and playing good basketball. They don't go one and the same, man. They don't. Sorry. Kind of confused me early when people was like, he should be an all-star. I'm like, huh? I'm like, I had to triple check to see the record. I'm like, are y'all really watching these games, or y'all watching social media highlights? And it's not about his talent at all. he got a lot to learn and learn how to win, man, and to play winning basketball because he got the ball in his hands. Like even tonight, when the Hornets were kind of building a run, kind of seizing momentum, the shot attempts he take it just deflates you. If you're not hitting them, it looks good when it goes in. Some hero shots, it's a bunch of hero shots, but when you're missing them, what did the Wizards do? Long rebounds, they off to the races, and you can't even get back to set up your defense. So it's just as bad as a turnover. You know what I mean? And it's hard to win like that, man. He has to learn how to manage the game better. Like, dog, how many games have we seen? It seems like every time they play the Wizards, which they've lost every time, the boy like 5 for 13 from deep, and it looks good. But overall, he's shooting 30% from the field, man. And then for his, he might get you 7 assists, but then he got like 6 or 7 turnovers. That cancels each other out. Your assist to turnover ratio is trash. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. But it's not about the talent. Somebody made, I forgot who I was watching. Somebody made a good point. Former NBA player. It's like I don't think he's ever won at any level. He's just hoop, and that's his game. So you got to teach him how to play winning basketball, and that's going to take breaking some serious habits for him to get to that point. He's super talented, big point guard, dynamic, can do a lot of things, man. But he gonna have to figure something out because it's gonna be hard to build a winner around him if he continues to play like this. It's just how can you?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. At this point, you have to say no because he hasn't won. And a lot of the team's shortcomings are centered around him. Like Cardell said, and he's the main decision maker. He has the ball in his hands a lot, and he doesn't make a lot of good decisions, to be perfectly honest. I think one game earlier this season against the Wizards, he was 3 of 18 for three. Like how can you possibly do anything positive with that? Yeah, man. Again, like Ardell said, man, talent isn't the issue. You're in the NBA, you're obviously talented, but that's obviously not enough. You got to be cerebral. You got to make the smart plays. You got to play winning basketball. You have to defend. So, yeah, man. Hopefully, at some point, he'll turn the corner. But I mean, nothing he's done at the professional level to this point has suggested that he's had any growth. I mean, stats are good, but what is the end result? I mean, I'd rather I'd rather more meager stats and better production than just putting up numbers and losing a lot.
Yeah, it's 3 for 3 here. For me, it's I think it's one of those things. We always talk about certain things that people lose sight of. Is you know, uh, from kind of the times we grew up in, and now is yeah, everyone can cool. People are point guards or whatever, right? And that's great. Running a team are two totally different things, man. There's a lot of point guards in today's game that don't know how to do that part of it. And running a team also goes with decision making. That is a monumental piece of that part of it. And I think people they conflate the talent part of it, get so excited about it, which is amazing because, like you guys all said, like it's not remotely a talent issue. But and this is not to Shea LaMelo in any shape, fashion, or form. Just using a quick comparison from point guards have been in similar situations where both teams kind of stink, right? Um, Organizations need to get better. What have you? Look at Detroit with Cade. Um, Cade, someone who can run a team. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things we never really wondered about Cade. And as they kind of got a little bit more structure or whatever in place for him, look at what they're doing. And that's mostly just structure because he can run a team. And running a team is huge. And Ray, you said that magic 2 words, 1 word, that magic phrase, decision making. People just ignore it, abhor it, just disregard it. Dog is everything. And similar to, unless you're playing with Bron, bro, you touch the ball the most every possession, you're the one. It lies in your hands. Football, quarterback touches the ball every play of offense. And to a certain extent, yeah, everybody needs to do their job. But, sir, if you're turning it over at a high rate, tis you and only you. We can't even talk about the other 10. Um, and that's a large part that comes with that position. And I think people just overlook, some of the stuff that goes with it. And that's why, sometimes even a bad shooting night, playing a clean game, your team can win by double digits because you played a clean game. You can. How many times we've been here talking about opposing teams, their point guards coming in and controlling the tempo, all that little stuff that people skip over. It's huge for that position, and that's why at this point, like you guys both said, just know he's not. That's not to say he can't ever be, but those are the things he needs to work on and improve on, so Charlotte can kind of take the steps. Because from a talent issue, Charlotte has some talent on their roster. Like they are not talent deficient. They've been picking high for a little while now. They got some talent over there. Not to say that they have top 5 in the East talent, but you shouldn't never be there to play in, sir. Like that's ridiculous. But if you guys had nothing to add on to the second question, this one Wizards specific. Cooper Flag has been favored to be the number 1 overall pick. Who should the Wizards target if they pick second or third? Cardell, we'll start with you in that, right?
Ooh. It's tough because, like I said, they have so many dynamic wings, man, that can kind of fit the guard spot. You got Sar. I think you got is it Dylan Harbor? I think he could play with Bub, but what you gonna do with Poole? You see what I'm saying? Like that, and that's the dynamic. Or you can go big. You can get one of you go center and you can match up with put him in the front court with Sar and be your front court of the future. Now, Ace Bailey is 6'10". You see what I'm saying? But I don't know if he's the defensive player that you need. Like that's why I got Cooper Flag for me number 1 because of his versatility defensively on top of what he could do offensively. Now Ace can break guys down better off the bounce than Cooper can. But Cooper has developed, is getting better at that, and he can continue to get better at that. But everything else is ready to go. You know what I mean? And that's the difference. You can't have somebody come in that's so far behind defensively because it'll set you back. You know what I mean? It's hard to adapt in college to learn to play defense. Then you're in the league where these guys are so good and so smart. They could just make you look stupid and then you're unplayable. Like we got to sit you to save your confidence because we might lose you as a player. You're getting torched out here. Like it gets bad. So Dylan Harper will probably be. I like the kid from BYU, obviously, Igor, with his size. I just don't know if he's physical enough to kind of be in that front court because, like I said, they set at the wing. Like they got a lot of wings. They don't need. And think about it, Bilal grew to be 6'9". You see what I'm saying? I think they don't understand that. Then Keyshawn said they're straight at the wing, but maybe kind of building that front court of the future because you don't know how things may play out with Poole. He's still fairly young, but he's like, yo, I'm ready to roll. You know what I'm saying? It could always come to that. Or if it's if you go the big route, you could look at the Duke. Maluk, I think that's how you say his last name. You can look at him, long term, kind of like be a Mark Williams type. You know what I'm saying? And that can help, complement what Sar does versatility wise. But I think that's it. No more wings. They straight at the 2 or 3, man. And even Sar, if you do go a big route, you can move Sar to the 4 or whatnot. So you straight there, but either point guard or center. So I guess the leading candidate will be Dillon because I think you can put him in the backcourt. And you know how this front office is, man. We won't hesitate. Hey, Poole, he's available. Get some assets, get some picks. You know what I'm saying? Keep building and be OKC of the East, man. Like OKC got that mob, but they got like 100 picks over the next year, so they're not going anywhere. It's just and all and they mob of like on a rookie deals or stuff like that, or small second year deals where it doesn't really hurt their cap and get them near the apron or whatnot. So you know, you can tell teams gonna start trying to build like that, man. So something like that, man. If it ain't Dylan, probably look at Maluk out of Duke.
Right.
Yeah, man. It's definitely a lot of factors that go into this, and my mind immediately went to Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper. Yeah, that other end kind of make things a little iffy about Ace. Not saying I definitely think he's going to be a top 3 pick, no matter what. But just kind of looking at where the Wizards are and what they need. Dylan Harper probably makes the most sense for the reasons Cardell laid out. But if they did go Ace, I mean, it's hard to pass that up. But yeah, even with his defensive efficiency, man, that's a hard thing to overcome, especially with what the Wizards have been dealing with the past couple years. But yeah, maybe Dylan Harper. But I wouldn't be mad with either. But yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Either one of those 2 guys. I don't think they should go outside of that.
For me, and again, Ace is one of my favorite players coming out of the draft, but because of what Washington already has, and we've seen them play all year, which means they're getting important experience. Carter been mentioned all year long when people talk about Washington. Don't forget Bilal. At times, they think it works one of 2 ways. They think about the core, they forget Keyshawn, or they think about the core and forget Bilal because he wasn't part of the 3-man rookie class. Yeah, and they forget Sadiq, which is yet another young freaking wing. So again, as much as I love Ace, we talk about fit here, which is a part of it. Outside of cool, because that makes the most sense because he can play all up and down and you're not worried about it. And it fits within the 2-way theme that this roster clearly has with these youngsters. Yeah, after cool, it got to be Dylan and Maluk because you got the flexibility, at least to me. I know, Cardo, you talk about, for all the reasons with Dylan above backcourt is love to me regardless. You do whatever you need to do with that. That's your backcourt. And you got your bevy of wings and start at the 5 if you so choose. Or you go get you your big, dirty work, big. So Sark, obviously expand his game and whatnot, but he gets to play the Evan Mobley role next to another big to do the Jared Allen stuff. Or Mark Williams stuff, as you said, but play next to another big where some of the stuff he does, it doesn't scream out as much as it does right now because he's not the 5. That's not to say it doesn't need to get worked on, but it's not as alarming because he's not the 5. And that's the luxury Evans had in Cleveland is Jarrett's been there. So he got to kind of, and we're seeing Evan kind of really come into his own this year, slowly building to the offensive part of his game without being ostracized for hey man, why can't you play the 5 yet? Why aren't you doing this? Let him build into it kind of naturally or organically grow. But yeah, for those 2 reasons, I think it's those 2. And then, like you said, Cardell, with the Jordan Poole thing, if you want, I think Washington has some options because if you do go Dylan, you could flip that for an asset and come back and circle back later for some bigs, possibly later, to go into the front court because there's other bigs in this draft. Yes. But we're talking about at that point, Maluk's the only one should be mentioned at that point for what he brings to the table. That said, if you go Dylan Harper early, say you flip Jordan, what have you, or Corey, what have you, again, you have those options because this front office clearly, we've seen them go to work. You got options later on in the draft to double back into the first if you so please, if you so choose. So, yeah, I think just initially those are the first 2 things. And if your default, oh no, oh my God, we took aces, oh my God, your life is still okay. But again, though, I think those are the 2 preferred things for me.
Man, facts, no argument. But if it ain't Dylan, then Maluk, because I feel like he is because he's defensive minded already. He's not gonna come in looking like I need the ball. Just give me a couple of lob plays. I'm rebounding, I'm running the floor, finishing, pick and roll, sending good screens, and being 7-2, 7-2, 7-2, 7-2. You know what I mean? Like that's big, bro. And in case people haven't been paying attention, in the East is a couple twin towers. You bigs you got to deal with. You got to deal with them, man. Like you look up in New York, a lot of their struggles is their bigs been in and out. Like they're missing the bigs. You ain't had Mitchell all season. Carl Anthony Towns been banged up. You just lost what's my man name that just got the young European dude? Dang man, Yuck Porty or whatever, Huck Porty. Yeah, you just lost him. It's tough. You want the way see what's out there and get some bigs up in there. You need size. It's hard to win. So with him just doing the dirty work, so to speak, is invaluable. I mean, hell, look what Mark Williams always does to the Wizards. Just being a lob threat, blocking shots, running the floor and rebounding and sending good screens. And then when you got Dylan above, dog, they're gonna make sure he eat. They're gonna find him. And obviously the wings can find him. The athleticism. But I'm just saying, because think about it. If you get Ace, if you take Ace, not saying that's wrong, boy talented. But think about that locker room dynamic with bunch of young bulls trying to establish themselves, man. You already building with this core, and then all of a sudden Sadiq is back. He healthy. Man, I got to get back to it. You know what I'm saying? Like it creates a different type of monster, and it could. We've seen it in the past. It's become toxic where it's one ball, and then you got the move pieces, and then it can set you back a little bit because now the chemistry from that core is being shipped out that you already started with. So it's not even necessarily a knock on Ace Bailey's talent. He's definitely worthy, but I just think sometimes it's about fit. You know what I mean? And for what the Wizards have, it's just not a good fit, man. Just like if you the Cavs, let's say you lucked up and got the number 1, number 2 pick, it doesn't make sense to take a big. Your front court is set. You know what I mean? Build your wings up. Because obviously the backcourt is set. Build that 3 up. You know what I mean? So for them, it might make sense to take Ace Blady number 1. Let's say that they got the number 1 pick. It might make sense for them to take Ace. Because to me, Cooper projects more as a 4. Whereas Ace is a big 3. It's all 3. You know what I'm saying? So it is all talented, man. But sometimes it is what it is. It's about fit. You know what I mean? So you gotta go with that. But yeah, if I had to put my money on it, if they ain't had the number 1 pick, they get Dylan, him above in the backcourt, let him rock. Because you got 2 6'5", 6'6", versatile guards that do it all. That's just hard. That's hard to match up for because it's like either one of them can run point, either one can be the 2. They can score dynamically different ways from all 3 levels, defend, competitive, tough. It's tough. It's tough to deal with that.
Yeah, I think that's the best case scenario. You got 2 great options right there where, like you said, you don't rock the boat is more complete in the picture with those the first 2. And that's the biggest thing because, again, like you said, yeah, Ace, it alters some things a little bit. Where right now we're watching them go organically. There's no reason to rock it.
And you
There's no reason to rock it. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, let it grow organic.
You draft him, you're basically saying you don't believe in us to be that guy. Unless you're drafting him to trade him to another team to get something else. You know what I'm saying? Like for another team, they might have a big that that they trying to ship to you, but they don't have a high enough pick. That has happened in the past. You know what I'm saying? They draft for another team to get them. So we've seen that, but it's still a long ways from Red Bell. Yeah, definitely. Those would. If it ain't Cooper for the Wizards, then yeah, I'll deal him.
Hey man, I'm all in favor of things growing organically and letting it rock. Like sometimes when people mess with things a little too much, you break it and there's no putting it back together.
Phoenix.
You break it and there's no putting it back together. And you see what it leads to. Utter destruction, and it's a matter of time.
Fighting for the 10th seed.
Yeah, man, allergies, man. It's crazy.
Right, man, it happens quick.
Hot and cold.
Everybody be careful what you do with your NTCs, all right? Support. Everybody doesn't deserve it. But we appreciate you guys. We'll check in with you guys Monday night. Shout out to the Wizards for getting tonight's win and sweeping Charlotte in this season series. A little bit of good news and a long season.